Welcome one, welcome all to the Killer Countdown. I am your host. I am Casey Kelderman. Joined with me is my co-host, Blake Ginithan.
What up?
What's up, Blake?
Not much.
Not much? You ready for this?
I'm not ready for this. This is the one Killer Countdown that I have been dreading. Because this is serious here.
This is some serious shit we got
This
going
is the
on.
master of horror we're talking about.
Yeah, and to do that, we're going to be talking about John Carpenter movies, joined with Jake Martin. Jake, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a little hungover, but I'm fine.
That's all right.
That's fine.
That's all right. You might have to sit a little closer to the mic.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. There.
All right. Yeah, we're going to be talking about John Carpenter movies today. So I believe you reached out to us, or vice versa?
I did.
don't remember.
I think you guys were looking for just a guest spot. And then I saw that, and I was like, that'll get me out in the community a little bit. Because I work Monday through Friday nights. So I never get a chance to go to like the film group community meetups or anything for that matter. So I was like, yeah, let's do this. I can do this on like a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
So I'm here.
And I've seen some, because you've posted on the South Dakota film community page a couple times.
Yeah.
You seem like a horror guy.
Yeah.
Is horror your genre?
That is my genre.
I mean, you do have an It hat on.
I do. I do have a little cute hat.
Yeah.
With the balloon on it. But yeah, when it comes to like my collection and stuff like that, I pretty much stick to horror. Because for a long time I was just doing like just Criterion stuff, and like I had a boatload of art house films I was never going to watch. So I just said, I'd sell them. I got rid of them and took that money and just started doing nothing but horror movies, and so that's where I'm at now, and I like it way more because I actually watch them. So
It's hard to really buy a Criterion and be like, I'm watching this, and then it's like, am I in the mood for this?
Yeah.
'Cause I follow you on Instagram, and I know you notice you like a lot of Criterion stuff, so I know you sort of follow it.
I love it.
Yeah.
But then again, you have to understand that when my social media thing is like, here's the thing. When I go through my Instagram feed, I will double click everything I see. It's like a habit.
Okay.
And I'm so afraid like somebody I'm following might post something terrible, like racist or, something awful. And I'm going to click it because I didn't even see, because I just... So whoever I'm following, you're going to get liked anyway. It doesn't matter, so...
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's start with a little bit about you. What are some of your favorite horror movies or horror series, if that's type of your thing?
Well, my end all to be all is Halloween. Okay. I even like Halloween 6. It's like...
Did you get a chance to listen to our Halloween episode?
I did.
Okay.
That was the first one I pulled up.
Okay.
So I was like, hey, all right. There's some interesting commentary, I think, about some of those. But
Halloween 6 does rule.
It does. It does. And I said if I was ever going to get a tattoo, it's just going to be that thorn tattoo.
Yeah.
But, it's just for me, that series in particular is my jam. I really try hard to dig Friday the 13th. But some of them are terrible. I have to say, like they're just almost unwatchable. Manhattan is just wretched stuff. But,
I think you're hitting both ends of our spectrum here.
Yeah.
Blake hates Friday the 13th. No, I don't want to say hates.
I don't hate.
It's not your thing.
I'm with you. I binged them. Like within 3 weeks, I watched them all, and I literally got them all mixed up because they're all the same to me.
And
They're so, I don't think it helps. Like, I dig the score just fine, but it's so like, it's like Psycho. It's
for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. There's not a lot of ingenuity in the movies, or they're kind of all this. How are we going to kill these kids? And it's kind of boring to me.
I mean, on the other spectrum, though, then you have Nightmare on Elm Street, and that whole thing, which I adore, almost every one of those movies. But yeah, I dig the slasher stuff, and I love the worst of the worst of like 80s horror, like TerrorVision or which is just what a theme song.
I like Terror Vision.
That theme song is so killer. I love it. But that's just kind of my thing. Like I collect all that Scream Factory and Arrow stuff, but it's not just her. Like I just got the RoboCop box set from Arrow, and I'm in love with it. Like they're so good at doing those too, because it's like the special features in tiny print, and it's like the minute it's on my shelf, I'm like, oh, I'm complete now for a minute. But I don't know. I love all that kind of stuff. So
I think the like Arrow Video and like Vinegar Syndrome and what those guys are all doing is like proof that physical media isn't dead.
God, I still alive
and still alive and thriving.
It's also nice to see people care about movies that you kind of grew up watching as well. Like, oh, somebody else out there really enjoys Chopping Mall or whatever.
Those little robots are glorious.
Yeah.
Them.
But yeah, so it sounds like Halloween's your franchise. So Carpenter is probably a big influence on you as a movie fan.
I just I went back to school. And I just had my first semester. I finished on Monday, but I took speech, and I've done 2 speeches. I did one speech on horror movies and the video nasties in the 80s, and then I did a speech on Carpenter.
I think you're in the right place.
So I'm pretty ready to just start geeking over him a little.
Now I feel the pressure even more.
I mean, I think that's always because it's hard to find people like us in this area, because I mean I did my final college thesis on horror movies too. Like I think that's cool that
there's people out there
like all of us. I think and then it's cool we all can get together and do this. But I think we're going to tear each other apart.
I think so. I think it's going to be bloody.
But before we get into that, our John Carpenter countdown, let's get into some of our recent watches here. So whoever wants to kick it off can.
What did I watched something? I already forgot. I watched Tammy and the T-Rex.
All right. Was it the gore cut?
Yes. All right, I'm gonna say this, and I don't want it to come out the wrong way. This is a bad movie. It's not good, but it's highly entertaining. It's full of energy. I think a lot of bad movies that like when people are like, "Oh, this movie is so bad it's good," you watch and you're kind of like, "Oh, it's a little boring though too." Like Tammy the T-Rex, like it never slows down. It's always on the move. Something's always happening. It never looks back at like, is this really dumb? It's dumb. Like there's a scene, I've talked about this before already with some of you guys, but like there's a scene where like so basic plot is there's this high school couple. One of them gets put in a coma, and this evil scientist doctor wants his brain to put in this animatronic dinosaur.
That's
okay. So now that we know that, he succeeds, and just I forgot to mention that the two young actors are Denise Richards and Paul Walker.
What year was this movie?
94.
Okay.
So Paul Walker's brain gets put inside of a dinosaur, an animatronic dinosaur, and he eventually becomes like conscious. And there's a scene where this is how ridiculous this movie is. There's a scene where this dinosaur squashes this bad guy, and then sees a payphone and goes over and calls Denise Richards on a payphone. This movie's ridiculous, and he chews people up. There's tons of gore. Obviously, it's now infamous because it's been released with all the gore put back into it. It's a lot of fun. It's 90 minutes long, flies by. Highly, highly, highly recommend Tammy and the T-Rex.
Where can I see that?
Vinegar Syndrome just put out a release.
Yep, and then Shudder is releasing it at the end of January.
Are they? Okay.
I think it's even
with the gore cut.
I think it's even a 4K remaster. I think
on Shudder.
I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's this pretty much the same. It's the same one from Vinegar Syndrome.
I think it's a 4K remaster. It's
end of January.
It's a ton of fun.
I need to see this.
Yeah.
This is a movie you call up all your friends and you're like, everyone bring a 6-pack. We're watching this, and you go with it.
Awesome.
People always complain about Denise Richards as like, like she's not a great actor. I just, but The World Is Not Enough is my favorite Bond movie.
Really?
And she is so wonderful in that thing. I think surely for the fact that she plays a nuclear physicist. And
someone saw Tammy the T-Rex.
yeah, and then it's just like, let's put her in a Bond movie.
Also, she's great in Wild Things.
Yeah. Well, who could forget the cover art for that?
That's true.
You know, with just her coming out.
That's true.
All right.
That's all I'm going to talk about.
Tammy and the T-Rex.
Tammy and the T-Rex.
All right. I've heard a lot about this in the last year or so. I can't wait to watch it. I have a couple on here. We can run through them really quickly. Little Monsters. It's on Hulu right now. Stars Lupita Nyong'o. I thought this movie was a lot of fun.
Okay.
It's about she plays a kindergarten teacher, and she brings these kids onto a class trip to this petting zoo amusement park type place, and then a zombie apocalypse breaks out. And it's not what I expected. It doesn't really focus on her character too much. It focuses on one of the kids' uncles, who's just this deadbeat, lives with his sister and her son. He has this rock band that they all quit on him 5 years ago, but he still introduces himself as the lead singer of whatever his band is.
He's still in the dream.
Yeah. This movie's really charming, though. I think it has very good leading people, including Lupita Nyong'o, who's fantastic in this movie. Josh Gad has a role in this, and he's really good. He plays this sleazy children's television host. He's really good in the movie. Like, I like seeing Josh Gad doing stuff like this. But yeah, this movie, alongside like One Cut of the Dead, proves that the zombie subgenre is not dead. I think there's still
not undead.
There's still stories to be told within that within that subgenre. Well, but yeah, I would recommend it.
I was just thinking about that recently. I was like, why won't zombies go away? You know, but I think a lot of it, regardless of what genre of film it is, what I'm noticing in horror is that they are needing to make them slightly funny in order for it to get out.
It's like what the slasher movies did in the 80s. They had to start becoming funny
ridiculous
and self-aware. That's
right.
I think that's why a movie like Maggie didn't do as well, because it was so serious. Like, it was heart-wrenchingly serious.
Also, Arnold doesn't have the pull anymore that he used to have, too.
Well, there's that,
yeah.
You know, and which makes me sad, because I love the guy, you know.
I'm with you.
But it's like, I'm noticing that trend of everything becoming funny. I mean, like, It Chapter 2 suddenly was like, no, we need to make every single scene funny.
I haven't seen it 2 yet,
So it's... Dear Lord, you know, it's every
we
moment.
We talked about it on the last episode. Yeah. I don't know what you'll think of.
Every moment of tension has to be alleviated by a laugh, and I'm
okay.
It's the Marvel formula.
I'm such a fan of it, though. Still, I love it no matter what. But
another one I watched on Shudder, The Headhunter.
Yeah,
which we've talked about a couple times on the show. Viking revenge horror film, directed by Jordan Downey, who did Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving 3. Mm-hmm. I just had a chance to interview him too about this film. This is one of my favorite movies of the year. Period. I think it's about an hour 10, hour 20. Flies by. It was shot on a $30,000 budget, but it doesn't look like that. It looks like it's set within the Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones type of universe. Wow. Like, that's how well it's shot. I mean, it's not going to be up for any like visual or like any awards like we talked about on the main show this week, but I think it's deserving because it's just one of the most well shot movies I've seen all year. And for $30,000 you cannot tell at all. It's like a $30 million movie.
Wow.
Yeah, it's up there as one of my favorites of the year. And if you go in thinking, oh, wow, it's the Thanksgiving guy doing a Viking revenge movie, don't think of it that way, because Thanksgiving is its own
do
thing.
And have an open mind.
Yeah, I mean, if you understand what Thanksgiving was trying to do, I think you'll understand that. Yeah, he's a very capable director and has a very bright future going forward.
That's
very
rad.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love it when a cheap movie looks better than it maybe even deserves sometimes. But what that is it's such a talented director and cinematographer to be able to set up a shot just right. Mm-hmm. Even using an inexpensive camera, you can make a really easy shot, you know, look grandiose.
There must have been a really good pre-production where they really worked out everything to get it. And maybe got lucky with weather, too.
So part of it was, we talked about in my interview with him, they got to shoot in Europe, which I believe one of his producers was originally from. But his grandparents or one of his relatives still lives there, and they had access to a lot of area.
There you go. There you go.
Including the cabin that they use in the movie. So, I mean, they got it's about who you know.
But that's what you do. You take the breaks you're given.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you get it done.
And it feels like a grand scale movie, but it's so small and contained. I loved it.
I heard it's very gory too.
It is. It's very gory. Jordan does a lot of the gore himself too, which is really cool.
I'll have to check this out.
It's on Shudder.
Yep.
You said? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, there's. I think I had a similar question, like how did they do that kind of moment when I was watching Lords of Salem? I was like, because there were some hallway sequences that I'm like, but the hallway was so tiny when I saw like behind the scenes or whatever, but their use of lenses was And I've never seen Zombie use something like that before. Yeah. I wish he would do that again.
We all do.
Because I'm so mad at him right now.
Is that your favorite Rob Zombie movie?
No. My favorite zombie movie is Devil's Rejects.
Okay.
I have a soft spot for corpses, but Devil's Rejects I feel is just amazing. I think that Lords of Salem is my favorite looking movie that he's done.
Definitely.
Because he didn't use one shaky camera the whole time. It was wonderfully Kubrickian, I mean, just that whole small panning shots, those long pans. Love them.
Do you have any recent watches? I got one more in here I want to talk about that rules.
Ready or Not. I saw Ready or Not.
I guess I did too.
Did you watch that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The trailer made it seem like a comedy kind of, but it was actually just a really good kind of cat and mouse game. I loved that movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. And I miss having fun at the movies, and I was so entertained from top to bottom. And, she's not Margot Robbie. I thought that was Margot. I thought it was her. It wasn't her. The whole movie, I thought it was her.
They look a lot alike.
Yeah.
My God, yeah. Wow. But it was so much fun. I loved it.
I don't think it's a horror movie.
Mm-mm. It's a thriller. It's just a suspense.
I think there is that element at the end, obviously, where that happens. But I wouldn't count it as a horror movie, personally. But
I think it fits within this
genre. I think what I also need to remember is that, like... Right.
What else do you classify it as?
Well,
type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not something where I'm like, I'm not gonna consider it a horror movie. It's just, to me, it's like it's maybe not a flat out horror movie.
I thought that and Your Next would make a good double feature though, because it's just crazy rich people, doing like kill stuff.
And then badass final girls.
Love it.
Yes. Samara Weaving rules.
She's good in it.
Yeah.
She's definitely a superstar in the making, I think, if she keeps choosing the right movies.
Mm-hmm. The last one I have on here, I mentioned it to you last night. Demon Knight. The Tales from the Crypt movie. This movie is freaking awesome. Me and my fiance Kayla, we watched it last night. She was having a blast watching it too. It's just so much fun.
It's great.
Billy Zane is hamming it up like 110%, and I love it. He's so good in this movie. He's having a blast. You can just tell, like the director said, Billy Zane, go, and he does. He gives it his all, and it's so much fun.
I need to see this movie.
It's glorious. It is absolutely banging. I love it. And my friend Dale, I don't know if you guys know Dale Friedwald. I think that's how you say his last name. Sorry, Dale. But he brought over the tape, and we watched it, and I had never seen it before, but I was such a big fan of the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the box set and binged through it, but I had never seen that. I'd seen Bordello of Blood, but I hadn't seen Demon Knight. And within the first 5 minutes, I was like, okay, this is great. This is just amazing. I love Zane's duster coat thing and like his cowboy hat. And at first I thought, he's a cop or whatever. And no, he's a demon.
Yeah, I think it did, because I knew going in Billy Zane, spoilers, I guess, he's the bad guy. But for the first 15, 20 minutes, like he's the you're following Billy Zane, like you think he's the hero of the story, and it has that fantastic reveal of him as the villain. You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil it for you because you'll dig the reveal a lot. So this is so much fun. I would highly recommend it.
Okay.
Jada Pinkett Smith is pretty good in the movie too.
Is William Sadler in this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And Thomas Hayden Church is pretty good in the movie too.
Whoa.
Young Thomas Hayden Church, yeah.
I just remember him so much from when I was a kid and George of the Jungle came out. And he was like
I know him from Wings.
Wings? Yeah, what was he in Wings? I can't remember.
He was the airplane pilot, repairman or
I know
Lloyd.
Because I'm a big fan of Steven Weber, but I didn't pay attention to Wings as much. But
and Dick Miller's in Demon Knight. And that's always a plus in any horror movie. Dick Miller. Yeah, so that's my recent watches. Highly recommend Demon Knight. Movie rules. All right, do we got any other final ones, or do you guys want to get into the game?
I think I'm ready to do this.
You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so this will be the John Carpenter countdown. We will be ranking the top 8 films directed by John Carpenter. Basically, how this will work, it'll be Blake and Jake, one-on-one. We have in this hat right here the numbers 8 through 5. Each player will pick out 2 numbers from the hat. They will then play those numbers, whichever ones they end up with the movie that they align to said number. Throughout the game, they both do have a stab each that they can use to remove a movie from a spot, but not from the game entirely. So if they want it higher or completely off the list, possibly, they can play their stab. After we play the first 4 numbers, we will then go to 4 through 1, in which we will play those numbers. I think that's about it. Did I get all the rules?
You did.
All right. So basically, I'll have you guys each pick out 2 numbers each here. When you get to your number, just hand me the card that you want to play there, and I'll read it off, like I said, in dramatic fashion. Let you pick 1 there. All right. So this is the top 8 countdown of John Carpenter movies. Blake has the number 8 spot.
Okay. Before I hand you my card, I want to say this was pre-planned.
What was
my pick?
Okay.
And I have my reasons for doing this.
Okay.
This is not like a trolling move or anything. I have my reasons for playing this.
Okay. I think I know what it is. All right. At number 8, Blake has played John Carpenter's Halloween.
8.
I know this movie is well loved, and I love it too. I think it's one of the best horror movies ever made. My reason for playing it so low is that when I think of like what a pure Carpenter movie is, it's that Western set in a modern environment with like an outlaw of some sort who is up against like the man or some sort of governmental society. Halloween is very well made. It obviously has that classic score, great performances. It's sort of like reinvented what the slasher would become, or maybe invented it. It's very influential. But if I'm talking like the quintessential John Carpenter movies in terms of like who he is as a filmmaker, like this is lower on the list for me, like, and not like a top movie. Does that make sense? Like, I think it's great, but I'm not like, it's not like the like movie I think of when I think of like what a John Carpenter movie is.
No, I get that, but you're wrong. So, absolutely wrong. I'm not gonna play it yet. But
you can't play it.
I know, no.
Oh, you're not gonna play it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm waiting. But no. 8.
Okay.
I'm so mad.
Do you understand his?
Yes, I completely understand.
I do too.
That's why when you came in, you're like Halloween. I'm like, oh shit.
I know.
And it's nothing personal. It's just like he has a certain aesthetic to him,
Yeah.
and Halloween is not that aesthetic, in my opinion.
I think you guys might be going in this from different perspectives then.
So,
Which is not a bad. I think it's very interesting.
So I want to hear why.
Why would you play it high?
Right, obviously, it's your favorite movie, or
It is. I think Halloween is one of those few movies that comes along that is perfect.
I would agree.
There's not a bad shot in that entire film. I mean, it is perfect. I mean, and for a cast of unknowns to be as good as they were, and then to grab, of all people, Donald Pleasance and send him on his career trajectory, starting at that moment. He knew what he was going to do the rest of his life at that point. Between that and the score and Dean Cundy's cinematography, the very one of the first instances, I think, of using the Panaglide camera system for that opening shot. I mean, you can't get your eyes off the screen no matter how many times you've seen that movie. And I can't say that about any other of Carpenter's films. Just that sheer rewatchability on a regular basis. It's perfection. I love it.
So, are you going to leave it here at number 8?
No, I'm not.
You going to stab it?
Yes, I have
All
to
right,
stab it
all right.
right off the bat.
That's never
All right.
happened before. I don't think.
At number 8, no. I mean, no one's played Halloween at number 8. But.
All right.
All right. So, Jake has stabbed Halloween. So, that was your stab there.
Wow.
All right. Blake will have to now pick a
I didn't
different
have
movie.
a backup plan. All right.
For that sake, Jake, I hope you have the number 7.
I do.
Okay. So Blake can not play it there. All right. Number 8, Blake has now selected and replacing Halloween with Assault on Precinct 13.
Okay. This is more of a typical John Carpenter movie. Basic plot is this crime guy, I forget if he's like a mobster or something, but anyway, he is being transported to Precinct 13 on the final night they are open. And while this is all happening, his gang is coming to break him out, and this precinct has like little resources because they've moved everything already over to other buildings, and so this gang of policemen and other gang members have to survive a night because they have either no communication or little communication with the outside world, and it's basically like a standoff between these cops and misfits versus this gang trying to break in to break out their boss. And I think this is a really good movie based on the fact that John Carpenter took a budget that was a no budget movie and really got use out of his funds. They kill kids in this movie, which doesn't happen often, and it's great to see.
It's great to see people
the
kill
reason
kids.
The reason why I say this is because kids or animals are used as pawns and making the audience feel a certain way, oh my god, they're putting the kid in peril, and then nope, the kid stayed to the last minute. It's kind of like using your emotions against you, and here it's just nope, they kill a kid, and so I think that's really ballsy to do. And I like the aspect of this. It's kind of like I think it's called Rio Bravo, an old movie where old sheriffs and policemen have to ward off Indians who are attacking a base, and so it's kind of like a modern day remake of that. And I think it's a very good starting point for where his career. I don't think it's his first movie. I think Dark Star is his first movie. So this is his second one, but I think it's a very good early entry in his career, and one that shows a lot of promise because it's very well made. And at number 8, I don't think it's too high to where it's taking over some movies that need to be higher up, but it needs to be mentioned because it's a very good movie and a showcase for him as a director.
Very fair, I think. That I like as an 8.
Okay.
I really do. I think one of the reasons that he gets away with such low budgets is simply down to his decision to use the 235-to-1 widescreen ratio, using that 35 millimeter film stock to its best potential possible. And that, and a couple well-placed shots, is simply why he's so good at making $200,000 look like, $2 million or $20 million.
Yeah, I forgot to mention before we started this that like he's probably like one of the best directors, period, ever to exist. Like, take him out of the genre. Like, he's known as a genre director, but like he's so much more than that.
Oh yeah.
He's one of the best. He just knows knows how to make a movie. He knows the genre as well, and he's so good at what he does.
I have never operated a camera in my life ever, but just by watching him work on like some documentaries or listening to the way he talks about, I know what I would ask for. If I was gonna do it, it would be like, no, I know what I want.
Yeah.
And simply by watching him work, it's just genius the way he's so quick about it too. It's like in and out, making a movie in 2 weeks, and it comes out as a classic. So,
all right, number 8, Assault on Precinct 13.
no.
All right, you got the number 7 there?
I do.
All right.
And I
Wow,
believe-
stab right out of the gate. I think that's impressive. Number 7, Jake has selected John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, it's the number 7. So The Thing, I think we all kind of know the plot, but if people haven't seen it or whatever, it's a group of scientists in Antarctica. I think it's Antarctica, right?
Yep.
They're stuck out there in a research station, and they're not stuck, I guess. But anyway, there's an unknown entity that kind of just starts taking people over. It's pretty much an in and out plot. They're all stuck down there with no communication really to the outside world as much. You can't obviously leave anytime soon, and there's this thing, and it's the thing, I guess. It just starts turning people and dogs and cute things into these vicious monsters. I think it's some of the most terrifying scenes he's ever filmed, ever.
Or anyone's filmed.
Yeah, or anyone. Yeah, it's the bit with the head and the leg thing. No, that's the heebie-jeebies. That just gives me the oh no.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
But it's and I think it's placed well at number 7 mainly because yes, the themes are there, but kind of like what you were saying about Halloween, I don't think it's a Carpenter theme because it's so isolated. Usually it's a bigger source outside. Normally people is the problem we're looking at. But with this, and I think what kind of downplayed it was that he had a small hand in the script, but I don't think it was actually his.
And that's why I wanted Halloween so low, because he didn't write Halloween.
Deborah Hill and him wrote, I thought.
Oh, did they?
Because Deborah Hill,
okay.
She helped a lot.
Okay.
She wrote for the girls
Okay.
in Halloween, and he wrote for everybody else.
Okay.
But like The Thing wasn't him entirely either. But
No Carpenter score either.
no Carpenter score. But here's the thing: that does not sound like an Ennio Morricone score. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Ennio Morricone. Yeah.
That doesn't sound like one of his.
Yeah.
It sounds like a Carpenter score.
Yeah.
Why did he hire him to do that when it's a simple dun dun
Yeah.
dun? That's the score.
Yeah.
He could have done that in 2 seconds, but he wanted to hire somebody. So yeah, not a Carpenter score. He didn't write it, and it is a remake. One way or another.
Of his
it's
favorite
still,
movie.
Howard
or one
Hawks.
of them.
Was
Yeah.
it Hawks?
Yep.
Yeah. But not saying anything bad about it because it is one of those rare, awesomely great movies. But I find myself rarely putting it in. I think because of the sheer coldness of it, it's so desperately cold.
Yeah.
Not just temperature wise, but it's hard to watch. I've never seen Kurt Russell so joyless. He's so sad and pissed off the whole time. He's so much better than being.
All right, Blake. What do you think of the? I know you've just been sitting over there mulling this over.
I'm stabbing it.
Really?
Wow.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep.
Okay.
I want to say I agree with a lot of what you said. You took what I said about Halloween and you use it against me, which I'm like that's what you should do. Like, you're right. It's a Carpenter score. I don't think he wrote the script either by himself, at least. And you make a lot of good points. I just think it's such a classic movie. It should be higher. And I don't know where higher, but it should be higher than 7.
You're gonna be so mad at my later picks. I just know it.
So I'm stabbing it. I'm stabbing it.
This is nuts. All right, so both stabs are out of the game at the 8
This is
and
why
7
I wanted
spot.
Derek to take over my spot.
No, this is awesome. All right, Jake, you got to have a replacement here.
So from here on out, everything stays.
Everything stays. I don't know what's going to happen, honestly.
Well, let's see here. I will put this down for number 7.
All right. Number 7, replacing The Thing, is Prince of Darkness.
Hell yes.
Yep. I figured that it's such a interesting movie.
It really is.
So what? It's a bunch of kind of research students and their professor. I forget his name, but I love him. He was in Big Trouble as well.
Victor Yang or Wang?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's
Victor Wong?
Victor Wong, yes.
He's so watchable. I will literally, if I see him on TV, in anything, I will stop and watch him. He's so good. But so they go out, and there's some weird energy source coming from an abandoned church. This green orby thing.
Yep.
And they're trying to study it and figure out where it's coming from, and it turns out, in a nutshell, it's the devil in this goo stuff, and weird stuff starts going down. It's people are acting bizarre, facial changes, bugs crawling out of things. I mean, it's so creepy, and the whole movie, it feels like one long trailer, but that's not a bad thing. And I think it's because Carpenter and Howarth's score run through the whole movie pretty much with a click. Like, it's nonstop, scene by scene by scene.
Yeah, the movie definitely never stops.
No, there's no small point.
Like, everything, like when they're having discussions, so there's like this dun 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 going on the entire time, and then it goes to something and dun 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 dun. Like, there's stuff always happening. It never slows down. You're so right. There's one sequence, kind of like within the last half hour of the movie, where like it's this long 15-minute sequence where like shit is going down, and it's like it's getting louder and louder. The score's getting louder and louder. Everything's crescendoing to this climactic thing. It's incredible filmmaking.
It's great tension building the whole time. I mean, it's because if you go and because I'm nuts for him musically as well as his film styles, but I listened to the score and I realized that when I was listening to the score that it doesn't let up. Like, the entire thing kind of runs through, and the opening piece is like 10 minutes long, and it's just and then I watch the film and I'm going, wow, no, it really doesn't let up. It's this constant tension building to that big crescendo at the end. But it's and to have Donald Pleasance back, in a different role other than Loomis, which I'm so accustomed to him seeing him in. But he was great. I think a little underplayed, but he doesn't need to even speak some of the time.
Yeah. I got to see this in the theater
way.
a year and a half ago. So the Alamo down in Omaha did The Thing, Prince of Darkness, In the Mouth of Madness triple feature, and I got tickets to it, and this in a theater on 35 is loud as hell. As hell. That part I was talking about was like
So
15
jealous.
minutes. It was just like, I was like, I gotta plug my ears. Like, it was incredible to see that.
That's rad.
Yeah.
I wish I could have done that. I forget that they have a draft house down there.
They have 2 draft houses down there.
They have two of them. Guys, I remember I used to live in San Antonio.
Oh, okay.
And I went to, I think, a few things while I was down there. One of them was a re-release of GoldenEye. But I was so disappointed. They didn't have a print. They literally played like the UA DVD on a big projector.
Weird.
And I was so bummed.
Weird.
I was expecting to see, that on 35
right. Or a restoration of some sort. Yeah.
But I didn't know any better at the time because I was 18 and I had no idea what that meant.
Yeah.
But the minute I saw this little play button on the top left corner of the big screen, I was going, oh no, that's not good.
That sucks.
All right, number 7
But
then.
that's right, you got to see that.
Yeah.
Prince of Darkness.
That's a good pick.
All right. Should go on to number 6. Whoever has the number 6 pick here.
I do.
All right.
You just know what you want to play, huh?
I do.
All right, number 6. Jake has selected Big Trouble in Little China.
That's about where I'd play it.
Jack Burton. God love him. He's Kurt Russell in this movie. Just his entrance, I think, with him on the CB is just clear. And a friend of mine, Cody, can completely verbatim that whole speech, which I adore very, very much.
Yeah.
That he can do that. But I can't. I wish I could do it right now. But anyway, it's Jack Burton arrives in San Francisco, and he gets intertwined with his friend who has to pick up this girl arriving at the airport. But then these Chinese gangsters show up, steal her, and now suddenly we're on this giant, race to get the green-eyed Asian girl. And from there on, if I say another word, it'll almost be like, oh, I definitely have to watch this right now. So it's like, I almost want to put it on right now in the background. It's just thinking about it. I love this movie. I think it's his funnest movie.
Yeah, by far.
It's so much fun. Because, the minute you get, and then once again, Victor Wang, did we say his name?
Wong, I think, yeah.
He just him in it as the bus driver is wonderful. He's so funny, and everything is tongue-in-cheek. And that opening scene when he does the whole, the electricity between his hands.
Yes.
When he's talking to the guy who
Magic
played
does exist.
Deep Throat in the X-Files is the guy he's talking to.
Oh, okay.
And he does that whole thing. And it's just, and then the score with Alan Howarth and Carpenter is glorious. That guitar riff and everything. But my favorite scene in that whole movie is when he dresses up as the insurance salesman.
Sure is raining cats and dogs out there.
Yeah. It's great, and I keep seeing it all over Facebook. Sometimes I'll see like these advertisements with him on it that you should call. What was his character's name when he dressed up as that guy? Do you remember what it was?
I don't.
It was a good name.
I don't remember.
It's very funny.
I love that Kurt Russell's a sidekick in this.
He is. Yeah, he really is.
He's not the hero.
He's not the hero.
I love how he thinks he is, though.
I love that whole joke that runs through the whole movie. Yeah, I just love the fantastical stuff, and I think this movie, I love it when if I go somewhere and I'm like, oh, I wonder what is in that building, or I wonder what's underneath that building, and this movie is kind of like, oh, this has this whole entire world down there, and I love how this plays into that, and they get lost in this whole dimension of weird stuff. And
I think that the floating, was it big floating
the head? Yeah,
that freaked me out. I was a kid. I was
the weird Yeti looking thing. This movie, there's just so much to love about this movie, and there's kind of this big heart to the whole thing, and yeah, man,
I love that he took his due diligence, went to San Francisco, Chinatown, and Carpenter actually made sure that whatever he was about to do wasn't going to piss anybody off.
We kind of talked about that before the show, actually.
Oh, did you?
Well, so I listened to the commentary with him and Kurt Russell, and I think he'd been met with some scorn about he's going to make fun of Asians or kung fu stuff, and so he was he pulled his team aside and was like, are we doing something wrong here? Am I wrong? And they're like, no, we don't feel offended or anything, and so he's like, all right, let's go do this, and so he kind of made a movie that wasn't poking fun at culture or a certain type of movies. And
yep, I just thought that's a great thing to do, and I think that so many like this recent Ghost in the Shell thing, like nobody thought for 2 seconds that maybe Scarlett Jo wasn't going to be the best pick in the world. It's like nobody's taking that time to ask if they're going to upset anybody.
Also, didn't the creator, wasn't he fine with it?
Oh yeah, totally fine, I guess. I think it's in general people.
Yeah.
Like it's fine if you're the creator of something and you're cool, but it's different if it is with an entire group of people that maybe would find it slightly offensive or something. But I love that a movie that's as ridiculous as Big Trouble in Little China and as bombastic as it is, nobody got upset. Mm-hmm. Like, not a soul. Because he took his time to make sure that wasn't going to be the case.
Also, like, the white people are like the dumbest people in the movie, too.
Well, that's true. But let's be honest, most of us are. We're not very bright.
Probably
it's
true.
All right, so that is number 6, Big Trouble in Little China. Number 5, Blake has the number 5 pick. All right. Number 5, Blake has selected Christine.
I've seen this movie twice. The last time I watched it was about 4 days ago. This, I think, is the scariest movie he's done. That's coming from somebody who loves The Thing, obviously. But, like, this movie sort of terrified me in a way. It's about this kid at school who doesn't have a lot of friends. And surprisingly, his one friend is, like, the high school star of the team. I thought that was a really interesting friendship. Like, this guy's, like, super nerdy. He's Keith Gordon, superstar of the 80s, Keith Gordon. He does what his parents tell him to do. And one day, he's like, I'm doing something for myself. He finds an old car. He goes to fix it up. Turns out the car is, like, a demon. And I love his character you know this movie pretty well. Okay, so I love his character transformation. I love that he is this nerdy guy, and like slowly he becomes, I don't know if he's taken over by the demon or if he just becomes more naturally outgoing and confident. But the two play hand in hand, and he ends up getting the girl that his friend is really into. And then just like a lot of the way that the car kills people is like really, it's scary. There's one scene where this guy is running from the car and he wedges himself in between these two big like walls, and the car like destroys itself to smash him. And like that is, to me, that's absolutely terrifying. There's a scene where the car gets lit on fire and it's just barreling down the street after somebody on fire. It has one of the better, and I say this with love, don't get me wrong, one of the better John Carpenter scores, I think.
It's a great theme.
Yeah. And the Bad to the Bone stuff, that bookends the movie. I love that it's never explained really why the car is evil. It's just evil. It's on the assembly. They open the movie with the car getting made. And it just kills somebody, just randomly.
Yep.
And I just love that there's no explanation. The car is just evil. This one surprised me a lot. I saw it years ago and was like, I don't get it. Like I don't get why everyone loves it. But like after this past week, I totally understand it, and I think it's one of his best movies. Like surprisingly,
it is really really good. I think I had such a hard time separating my love of Stephen King with my love of John Carpenter. So whenever I see that, I keep wanting to see John, because they both love their name above the title.
Right.
And so every time I see it, I'm like, who, what?
Yeah.
Which one did it? I go, yeah, it's Carpenter. That's right. He did it.
Yeah.
But it was so neat to see something that both of them had their hands in, between King's book and that. Yeah. And but speaking of that, it's so rare to find a really good adaptation of King's work. You gotta dig and dig to find good ones. But this was a good one. I mean, for the time period it came out, because that's like the period of like Maximum Overdrive.
It was a few years before, I think. But
and so it's to me it was like good. Something did some justice to something of King's work.
So. I was surprised at how effective it was. because you really care about Keith Gordon, even though he's kind of turns into a prick. You know, it's because like he's being influenced, and Alexandra Paul, who ended up going on to Baywatch at some point. She's really good in the movie as the girlfriend, and you like John Carpenter really like. He takes like I feel like a good like 45 minutes to get to where like the stuff starts happening. So he built this whole effective connection between the audience and the characters, and you really care about everyone involved.
But much like in good Carpenter vein, though, like once it goes
it doesn't
after that
stop.
45 minutes, it's pervasive.
Yeah.
All right, that's number 5 then, Christine. All right, we're going to get into the top 4 here. We'll let you each pick your 2 final numbers. All right, how are we feeling about this list so far? We started off crazy. I think you two are on the same page right now. We'll see when you get into the top 4 now.
Oh, well, I know it's going to be number 1.
Okay, I have 4.
All right.
So, let's see. And I have to pick carefully here. Okay, no.
Yeah, we're in. This is
the real deal.
This is the real deal here.
All right, number 4.
And this is where everything starts getting funny.
All right, number 4. All right, Jake has selected vampires.
Oh my, all right.
I love this movie so this was, I think, outside of Halloween, it was my first Carpenter movie, and I think that's why it ranks as high as it does, is because when I was a kid I watched it. You know, it's one of those movies that for some reason stuck with me. So yeah, essentially this is a Western movie with vampires in it, and I dig that more than any other aspect of it, because unlike Carpenter's normal like synthy score kind of thing, you get this really kick-ass kind of Western country blues slide guitar thing that's just amazing. And he worked with a couple guys from the SNL band, I think, and the Blues Brothers to put it all together.
Interesting.
And it's a killer score. The movie itself, you know, you've got James Woods, who I think is really, in the horror community, really underthought of sometimes, because between Videodrome, you know, and vampires, I think that he's just got this face and this voice that works so well. Yeah. And so you have a ragtag group of vampire hunters. They go, their first mission of the movie is this nest outside of New Mexico, and the master vampire wasn't in there, and that makes Jack Crow, James Woods' character, very nervous. So they go to party it up, which it's such a weird twist of tone to have that sudden transition from we didn't get the master vampire to hey, let's party, we'll get booze and hookers, this will be fun. And so they're all dancing and everything, and eventually the master vampire shows up because he's pissed off that his whole crew got
that scene rules, by the way.
Just him going in and slicing the dude in half. You know, what does he do? Punches his fist like a open through the guy, lifts it up, and the guy splits in 2 pieces, and there's just blood gushing everywhere. And a pretty easy but effective use of CGI and practical. But then he just slaughters everyone. I mean, everyone. And so Jack's all pissy, you know, obviously. He's such a mean guy. When I went to go rewatch this movie, I was like, he's a lot meaner than I thought he was, but he's a dick. But he is nowhere near the dick that Daniel Baldwin is in this movie. I mean, he just starts beating up this chick left, right, and center throughout the movie. The girl gets bit. They keep her to track the master vampire. Right. But Daniel Baldwin's character, I don't know if it was written that way or if he was just a douche.
I think it's okay.
Can I say that? I don't know if I can.
You can say douche. I've heard the same complaint too. It's like, man, it's like this movie. This guy beats up this lady the entire time, and it doesn't look good in retrospect. But I think the one saving grace maybe of that is like she's a vampire.
She is a vampire.
So
I think it's his way of doing it. Yeah. Like, you know, just I mean, but with all of its flaws aside, it is once again one of those rare instances where he's fun to watch. Like the movie, like Carpenter's films are fun, and this is a perfect testament to, I think, his last great movie to me. Like Ghosts of Mars followed this up, which essentially was vampires in space, but Ghosts of Mars is hard compared to Vampire. I think Vampires is just one of his, I think, all-time fun ones. And I think we when we talk about Carpenter, when I see other people talk about Carpenter, they always mention, I can almost tell what the top 5 is what they're going to be. But nobody thinks a bit about, yes, they're classics and everybody kind of loves them, but what about these other ones, these little lost gems that nobody cares about? I love them so much.
Blake, what do you think of Vampires?
I think it's a little high, but I don't dislike the movie. Not top 4 for me. But
is it top 8 for you?
No, but I like it. You know, like Carpenter's so hard because I agree with him. Like, it's like, oh, have you seen The Thing? It's like, well, yeah, but have you seen In the Mouth of Madness? Like you know, like there's other movies he's done. Like you talk about Ghost of Mars. Like I love Ghost of Mars.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I would play it over Vampires personally. I even thought about playing it today. You know, it's just to me it is a Carpenter movie. You know, like it's a western. You know, it's a western in space, and I think it's good at what it does. You know, we're in the spot now where like it's unplayable. But like I agree with you. Like there's just so many movies that he's done where it's like, man, have you seen this though? Like this, like Prince of Darkness is that for me. You know, it's like. Yeah, have you seen Halloween? It's like, yeah, but have you seen Prince of Darkness? Like, that's a good movie. Like, Halloween's good too, but like Prince of Darkness is a great movie, you know. So, we're in that spot where like, you know, like favorites, you know, like what we grew up with. And Vampires I saw early. I think I was like 12. And I liked it. Doesn't ring my bell, but
you know what I think a lot of it is, at least for me. And why it ranks so high for me is outside of the fact that, you know, it was when I was a kid and I was really impressionable when I saw it the first time. But I'm a guitar player, and one of the first things to make me want to play guitar was that score. And it's ever since that I can play through the whole thing now, and I dig it so much that I was like, no, I have to put it that high.
So you like Vampires
personally?
You like Vampires more than Big Trouble in Little China?
I do.
Okay.
I do, and I know that's saying a lot.
No, it's so subjective. We don't know. I mean, yeah, it's cool.
Vampires rules.
It makes me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Is what it does. Like it's a blanket. Like because I've seen it so many times.
Yeah, okay.
That I could go to bed watching that movie.
I will say I have not seen it since the 90s, so I should probably rewatch it.
I have it on the Indicator Blu-ray. I think it's a company. It's like Powerhouse Studios or something like that. But I got that and Ghosts of Mars in this like set and. I think I put them in quite frequently still. Like it's still one of my. I watch Vampires I think 3 times a year. Or something
wow.
Like
what does James Woods call everyone in his group? Is that compadre?
Yeah. Well, no, he called because the priest is padre, but what did he call them? It was I think he just said crew. I don't think he had a name for them. Slayers. That's what it was. It was a band of Slayers.
And then he always calls it, the...
And that's the other interesting plot point of that. They're all hired by the Catholic Church. And they're anything but, you know, altar boys, you know. And it makes the Catholic Church look kind of cool, you know. And they're... Yeah.
I like to think of it as like the Catholic Church had no other options, and we're just like,
James Woods and its ragtag.
We don't want to do this, but we sort of have to.
It did have a really terrible sequel though, starring John Bon Jovi.
Yes,
Los Muertos.
The scene with them coming out of the ground is really cool too.
Just that.
Yeah. That's a cool horse.
All right. Number 4,
wow,
Vampires.
That's surprising to me.
That's awesome.
So, essentially, I think we have one pick left, right? Because we know the top 2 is going to be.
I don't know which one. No one knows which numbers you guys have, though. So, only you 2 know.
All right.
Number 3. Blake has the number 3 pick.
I think I'm going to do this.
All right. Number 3. Blake has selected They Live.
I was choosing between this and Escape from New York, and I love Escape from New York, but I don't know if it's like the classic it deserves to be. Like, I think it's great, but like watching it recently, it just didn't seem to hold up as well as They Live does, which I think is more of a pertinent movie now than maybe it was even back then. Or maybe it holds up as well. I'm sorry, based on what's happening politically and whatnot. But They Live is another like Western type movie where this guy, this loner, homeless man, Roddy Piper, walks into Los Angeles, and the way they showed the opening credits is great because it's just someone has spray painted on a wall "They Live," and that's how they show you the name of the movie. He's just walking right by it. I thought that was really cool. He finds this homeless encampment near downtown Los Angeles, and he starts to see like weird things happen at this I think it's a church, right? It's like an abandoned church.
Yeah, it was a church.
And so he starts to do a little snooping around, and he finds this box of sunglasses. And he's like, oh, okay. He takes one, starts walking around Los Angeles, and like he's like, oh, it's kind of sunny out. He puts on his sunglasses, and all of a sudden, like his view changes completely. And he finds out that aliens have taken over the world or just the U.S. They really don't go into.
I think it's just downtown L.A.
Okay, so they've taken over L.A. and you can only see these aliens with these sunglasses. And he's like slowly starts to realize that he needs to do something about this, and he teams up with, I always get his name wrong. Is it Keith David?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because there's a David Keith actor as well. So it's Keith David, and people know this because they have this epic like 8-minute fight just to get these sunglasses on, and I just think like this is a great typical John Carpenter movie where it's about a loner, has a Western feel, him against the big government type thing, or those who make the rules. That's kind of how Carpenter lived his life too. He's always against. He always did what everyone told him not to do. You can't do this. Oh, I'm gonna go do it. So I think the movie is a good like conduit for what Carpenter is as a person, and like I said earlier, the movie kind of speaks to what was happening in the 80s with Reaganism and consumerism, and like this is what you need to do. You need to do this, and it's a lot of like product placement. It talks about like so many thematical things that were happening in the country at the time. This movie like just completely gets and goes against, and I think this is one of his better movies that has gotten better over time.
Oh, It is the quintessential Carpenter film. I really do think so. I think it has everything he ever wanted to say in one movie.
Yeah.
It's great. And then once again, another killer score and a killer
guitar score.
Yeah, just that dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Dun, and then just the harmonica thing. Yeah, I love it. I think it's that movie, every time it starts up, I can't just leave. I have to sit down and watch it. It's having Roddy Piper in there. And I have a bottle of soda, actually, that's that all out of bubblegum Roddy Piper soda. Apparently it's worth some money now. Thank God I never opened it.
That's cool.
But
probably doesn't taste very good either.
It's got to be flat. Yeah. At this point, Jesus, I bought it 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, it's that fight scene, that Keith David fight sequence is, I think that's what gets me going. Because we were watching it, I think my birthday last year, I think me and my friends all watched it. And during that fight sequence, everybody was just like, this can't keep going on like this, right? Like, they're going to get really tired. Are they all right? No, it just keeps going on. Just put on the glasses.
Great South Park parody, too.
Did they parody it? Yes. I haven't seen it.
Yes. Who are the mentally challenged kids on the show?
Jimmy and
Timmy. Jimmy and Timmy fight.
No. It's okay. I need to go back and watch that. I need to do that.
In some parts, it's like beat for beat the same, like choreography. It's really funny.
Wasn't Keith David in The Thing too?
Yes.
I think. What is he doing now? Does anybody know? Because I love his face.
He was just in Night School with Kevin Hart.
Oh no.
Oh, why?
I'll look him up here.
Is it good? As far as current comedies go, anyway.
It's in the middle.
Yeah.
It's there. It exists. It's not bad. I think it's close to 2 hours, which is not good, but yeah. I love They Live. I think it's. Casey, have you seen They Live?
I have not.
You have not
seen They Live. No, I have not.
After this is done, we're gonna have to do the old Clockwork Orange thing. We keep his eyes open.
There's actually, yeah, we'll talk about it at the end. There's a couple I haven't actually seen. He was just in 21 Bridges, Keith David.
Oh, okay.
With Chadwick Boseman. So he's has a ton of credits just from the last 2 years alone. So he's still working out there.
That's good. I'm with you. He's one of those actors when he shows up, you're like, oh, thank God.
Good, the movie's saved.
Thank
for
God.
Like,
yeah.
He does a lot of voice work too, and he's really good at that.
Well, he's got that voice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I could hear him and know it's him.
Yep. All right, that's number 3. They Live. All right, Blake, you have the number 2.
This is no surprise.
Number 2, then. Blake has played The Thing.
Yep. I don't know what else I need to say about this. It's arguably a top 5 horror movie, which means that Carpenter arguably has two movies in the top horror movies ever made, or top 5, I should say. Yeah, I mean, this is the movie I think about when I think of John Carpenter. This is the movie I think about. It's scary, it's funny, it's got maybe the best gore effects ever created for movies, still to this day, at least the most iconic. A great ending where you really don't know who's who or what. You really don't know who's the thing. It's got all the classic scenes, the head with the spider legs, the scene where the blood test is still an all-timer. Great score. Just everything about it is at the top of his game.
You know what sequence scared me, I think, more than any of the others in that movie was the paddle sequence.
Oh, yeah.
And what really frightens me is that when his chest caves in, it's this endless void. That is honestly more terrifying than blood or guts or things coming out. That nothingness under there.
Yeah.
Oh man, you'd have nightmares for days.
We talked about the podcast, The Best Movies Never Made. They did a 2-part episode on a sequel to The Thing that someone had written for Sci-Fi Channel, and if that thing was made, that would be amazing. So I highly recommend you check out that if you're a fan of this movie. So.
Oh wow,
it's incredible.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, Sci-Fi was planning a sequel, like a 2-night, 4-hour miniseries of. I think it was called like The Thing Returns or something like that. The Thing Lives, and this guy, the guy who wrote the script, like just got it. He just understood what the next steps were for this, and there is just some downright terrifying sequences in it.
That would have been cool, but my problem with that would have been it because it was handled by Sci-Fi, you know.
But this was back when they were handing big budgets to.
Oh, okay.
It wouldn't be like a Sharktopus versus Mega Boa or whatever, you know.
Why are those done? Somebody.
They need content for TV.
Yeah.
What did I see online? I think it was like, anytime anytime you think your ideas are useless, just remember that somebody somewhere at pitched, sharks and tornadoes. Let's make that a movie, and somebody greenlit it. So your ideas are not useless, kids.
Yeah,
they're not.
Yeah.
All right. Then we got number 1. Blake, I think you were playing nice.
I was playing nice?
Yeah, you could have played his number 1 at number 2.
I could have.
All right. Then at number 1, the greatest John Carpenter film of all time. Jake has selected Halloween.
It is perfect. As I said earlier, I don't think that it's underplayed anywhere. I think it deserves like the top spot, not only in this list but in horror movies in general, outside of maybe Psycho. I mean, Psycho is the gold standard, but Halloween comes damn close. And so I think for me, yeah, it's not just number 1 Carpenter, it's horrors. I mean, it's I think the most iconic film score outside, in horror anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I think Star Wars or something, but I think that in horror, Halloween is the one everybody knows. I mean, one thing that always upsets me though is that everybody's like, "So who's Jason gonna kill next?" And then I have to go, "Call him Jason one more time. Do it." Yeah, like they always get it wrong, and I'm like, because everybody knows Jason and Freddy. I think more though. What do you think about that? Do they know them more
in the pop culture lexicon?
Yes.
Yeah, I think those two are probably more popular. I mean, I think it happens to be because of how many sequels and how much
carnage?
like merchandise.
Also-
Even look at my wall here. It's just
Also, they shared a movie together too.
and they did face off against each other. Michael's stuck in his own little world,
Right? Yeah.
and it also helps. I think that Michael doesn't have a personality; those two do. Is why they
Well,
will stick out.
Excuse me?
I think Rob Zombie tried to give him a personality of some kind.
Did you just say Jason has a personality?
Jason has more of a personality.
He's got a
than
mommy
Michael.
complex?
Yeah, Michael has not. He's not. He's literally a faceless evil. If you look at just this movie,
Right.
he's
Right.
nothing. He's just a blank
And-
slate to kill.
And maybe the new one, I think, because it follows
Yeah,
that same idea.
it's the same Michael. Yeah,
Now, I have a theory about the new Halloween that just came out too, because like for some reason, because all the sequels set up sister thing, and obviously this new one retcons all of that. But my theory is that if it wasn't for that Dr. Sartain character, he would have never gone after Laurie Strode. But he just put him on the path to go after her. Like, I don't think it was a guiding force. I think he just wanted to kill more people. Because apparently she was just a random girl that night on that first one. I don't know.
that's why I don't like them retconning that, because then it makes no sense to you have Jamie Lee show up for the next 3.
I know.
But what? That's
We'll see. But
different-
that's it.
different.
Yeah. I had to get that out because I was like, I haven't had this conversation with anybody, and my partner at home doesn't want to have this conversation again. So I was like, more ideas, please. But yeah, I mean, if there's a number one spot for a Carpenter film, it's Halloween.
There it is. All right, I'll run through the list and then we'll talk about discards that we have for John Carpenter movies. All right, number 8, Assault on Precinct 13. Number 7, Prince of Darkness. Number 6, Big Trouble in Little China. Number 5, Christine. Number 4, Vampires. Number 3, They Live. Number 2, The Thing. And the number 1 greatest John Carpenter film of all time, Halloween.
Casey's happy about that one, I think.
I dig this list. This is a good list, guys. What did we have for discards?
Well, I had In the Mouth of Madness, which I think is a really strong entry in his filmography. It's just this is a hard thing because he has so many great movies, and where do you squeeze in?
In only 8 spots.
Yeah. That's what I don't know. I did write The Fog in, even though I don't like it. But I feel like it is a quintessential Carpenter. Like, you put on The Fog and you're like, within 5 minutes you're like, oh, this is John Carpenter.
Yeah.
So I don't care for the movie, but it's still a very important entry in his filmography. And then I have Escape from New York.
Well, I had more cards. I don't know where they went.
I think
Maybe.
we brought it-
Oh, yeah. So They Live, The Thing, and In the Mouth of Madness. Did I even have The Fog written down? I think I did. Somewhere. Once again, it got lost somewhere.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But anyway, I think that In the Mouth of Madness, I really wanted to put down that as my number 2. It scared the bejesus out of me. It was scary stuff. And it was in the same vein as, like, Nightmare on Elm Street or something, where I'm not sure what reality is at a certain point. It's awfully
I
terrifying.
think it might be the best H.P. Lovecraft movie that's
Yeah.
been made so far. I don't
He's
know.
unfilmable, so I mean, if you can make a story that feels like one, yes,
Yeah.
it's scary. Sam Neill's
Also,
great, too.
like, one of the most apocalyptic endings to a movie ever. Just, yeah, it's a scary movie. That might be the scariest movie than Christine, honestly. Like,
It's frightening. I mean, when he starts reading the book and everything.
oh
and,
yeah, jeez.
It's,
And Jurgen Prochnow is like hamming it up big time. Well, not hamming it up, but he's a couple of notches higher than everybody else is.
I think that bit, where he's just You know what I'm talking about. Have you seen it before?
I have not.
Okay, but towards the end when he's just laughing at the movie theaters.
Yes.
My God.
Yes.
My heart was just palpitating the first time I saw it. And I saw it, it was like one of those movies where it was like 4 a.m. and I had been up all night, just like drinking Diet Coke and popcorn a day, as a kid. And then I was like, let's kind of put that one on in my tired delusion state. And bad one to put in, because that threw me for a loop. I mean, and it didn't feel like Carpenter.
No.
It felt like a King story.
Kind of felt like a Wes Craven movie.
Wes Craven, yeah.
A little bit.
But anyway, I think that maybe that one is maybe our wish pick at some point down this line.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't. Honestly, we have our number 1 and 2 started off at 8 and 7. That's crazy.
Wow, that is crazy.
That's cool. All right, that's just the way the cookie crumbles on this. I think there's a very good representation of his entire career on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to squeeze Ghosts of Mars on there, but not. For me, it's like a 9 or a 10. I'm not going to muddle the list.
What do you like about Ghosts of Mars?
It's not trying to be anything better than what it sets out to be. Like it's a B movie. And I think the performances are really good. I think Ice Cube is really good. I think Natasha Henstridge, I think that's her name, is really good. And then it's got a lot of great gore effects. Obviously, another great Carpenter score. I love that it just sort of ends, and it's like, where's the sequel to this movie at? Like, it ends, and it's like, it's ending right here? Like, are you serious? Like,
he's got a tendency to do that.
And it's like, yeah, there's a certain urgency at the end of the movie, and you're like, what? Like, I want more. And it's not like top tier Carpenter, but it's obviously, but it's a fun movie, and it's not trying to be a better movie than what it is on paper.
Right.
Can I leave you guys off with one question I have?
Yes.
And you only get one answer to it. Favorite John Carpenter score? Doesn't have to be necessarily from something he's directed, just his score, period.
I'm going to say Big Trouble in Little Chinatown. Or China.
Oh, man, you would ask me this question. There's too many. I really...
There's no bad one either. That's part of the problem.
One I always go back to is Assault on Precinct 13. That dun-dun-dun-dun. Minute it plays in my stereo, I'm like, I get those chills on the back. Like, whether or not it's my favorite movie or not is irrelevant when the score is as good as it is.
The score is really good for that.
Halloween obviously is great, but I think that there were movies that came after it that were better, like in that series.
Scores?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, maybe the first one, yes, invented it, and I think the tones are great, but it's way overused.
3.
Number 3?
3 has a great score.
3 is fantastic.
The new score is great, too.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
it
I
is.
must have listened to that 17, 18 times. Like, I was working actually by myself at work for about a week while my coworker was on vacation, and I listened to that while I was working, and I was just getting myself chilled out. Chill out to some, sounds. The calming sounds of slasher movie
The
scores.
calming sounds of John Carpenter's Halloween score. All right. What do you guys think of this list?
It's a good
I think
list.
it's a very good list.
It's a good list.
It's a very good
I
representation.
think what could be, like, obviously there's only 8 spots, but what we got on there was what we wanted on there at the end.
Yep.
Maybe not where we wanted it, but
it's on there.
But like, you don't seem miffed that the thing is high, and I'm not miffed that the Halloween got that high. It needs to be there because it's it's Halloween. It's the thing.
Monolithic at this point.
Yeah.
I knew that throwing vampires down was going to throw you guys maybe for a loop, but
I was not expecting it.
But yeah, I think because it's on there though, it kind of covers his career. Mm-hmm. Really, I mean,
from
everything
the beginning to pretty much the end.
Yeah.
None of us mentioned The Ward all day.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I need to watch it again. I want to watch it again.
You know what I noticed about that movie, and I think one of the reasons I didn't like it very much? Because I think that was the first film he had ever made using digital photography. And his look suffers because of it. He has to use 35 mil, otherwise it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
He has this. He knows how to operate one of those cameras, and digital, I think, ruined him as a director. I think it got done too quick. He didn't take his time with it, and for a comeback thing, it was like producing Halloween, the new one, seemed like a better comeback than coming back as a director for a bad director.
It was definitely more noteworthy than The Ward. He made a couple of great episodes of Masters of Horror too.
He did.
Cigarette Burns is one, and Chris.
No, it was
Jennifer. Did you?
The Birth. It was an abortion.
Afterlife or
yeah, After Birth. No.
what's it called?
What's the name of it? Come on, phone man.
I don't know.
Pro-Life.
Pro-Life.
That's
That's the
what
name
it's
of it. Yeah, it was. I felt like that one, Pro-Life, had a lot of stuff coming out from Assault on Precinct 13, plot-wise.
I need to watch it again.
With, I think it's a hostage movie. I mean, for the most part, it gets weird at the end, but I don't know. I wish he'd come back to do just one more proper film.
From my understanding, he is not opposed to it. He's just kind of like, no one's giving me funding. Like the right project isn't there.
He could fund whatever he wants. He's got enough money.
Yeah, he does.
Just do a concert series and make some money. And
I'm pretty sure a concert DVD came out recently.
I want to see it so bad.
He's in concert quite a bit.
I had tickets to see him in Minneapolis, and the day rolled around, and I couldn't afford to go. Like, it was just one of those bad luck weeks.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do it.
Damn.
I can't do it. And I have the fucking tickets.
A friend of mine saw it, and she said it was pretty spectacular. So we were listening. On the way over here, I was listening to his Lost themes.
It's great.
It's so good.
All right, should we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So where can the people find you guys online, Blake? If you want to start.
I just started an Instagram account for movie reviews called Midwest Cinephile. You can find me there. Otherwise, I just quit Facebook.
Did you?
Well,
so don't find him on Facebook.
I spent too much time on Facebook, and so it's a deactivation, not a deletion. So I'll be back, but I need a break for a while. So, but I'm on Instagram reviewing movies at Midwest Cinephile, and then I host this show. And that's pretty much all where I'm at. So.
All right, Jake, where would you like people to find you?
I have a movie review Instagram page called Jake Watches Films.
I didn't know this.
Well, I've been offline for a while because when I decided to go back to school, I knew that time was going to be short, and I don't think I've done anything for a couple months. I said sorry is my last post. Like, I'm so sorry, because I was like starting to gain some followers and people that were commenting, and there's a lot of really cool. I've met a lot of really cool film guys in town from that, and collectors in general of movies and stuff.
I think you need to hook us up so we can keep growing this family we have here.
Yeah. Well, do
Ask
you guys
them
know
if they-
Corey?
Yeah, we know Corey.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in person in a while, but we always used to talk and whatnot. He used to be the guy at the Hollywood Video that would check me out as a kid.
That's how I met him.
Yeah.
So, funny story. I'll just go through this really quick. What was it for I think it was for the main show you asked me to be on, and I was like, yeah, okay, we have this guy Corey coming on, and I'm like, Corey, name sounds so familiar. And so when I showed up, I was like, oh my god, this guy recommended me movies, going to Hollywood Video, and gave me a bunch of influence with that. So I have the same exact.
Oh yeah.
Experience
He was and is to this day just such a sweetheart. I love that guy.
He's a very nice.
I don't see him very often at all, but like I said, online he's always like, he what he just did? He sold his Phantasm Blu-ray set.
Yep.
It's going into Last Stop. I want it bad. And I just found it. I put it on my like email notification thing. I've been checking my email like every day since he told me so. So it's like, oh, I want it so bad, because I think he just got like the new ball one.
Yeah.
And which I also want, but I don't want to shell out, $120 or whatever it is for it. But $80 at Last Stop for that nice set. So it's like,
That's a little out of my price range.
it is a bit much, but it's a beautiful looking box. And I swear, but I've got so much crap like at home. I think about half the movies I have on my shelf I still haven't watched. So I need to be...
I think we all have
that is the one thing I keep hearing about us movie collectors. Just like, I own all this, but streaming, I'm going to watch this. It's right here.
Yeah, I know. My digital movie collection's growing disgustingly because every time I go on Vudu, right, then they have the little sale thing.
Yeah.
Like it was just Friday the 13th. So they had a horror movie sale, and I was like, click, click, click. And it's like, Jake, you already have some of this on disc. Why? Because I want it everywhere.
Yeah.
That's why. I hate that, I think digital needs to become more of an industry standard when it comes to selling physical. Because I don't want to buy a movie twice. I'm so tired of doing that. And half of the disc to digital things don't even work in here. Anyway, so sorry about my rant.
No,
that's right.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
We have to get you and Corey to face off in a killer countdown.
We're doing a live we're doing a live show in January at Last Stop.
Is it during the week, late January or like early January?
Late January.
Oh, late. Good. I'll be out of a job.
On a Sunday.
You could have a job.
I'm being automated.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm getting laid off. So if anybody knows of any like good, like I'm not a manual labor dude, but I can type and click and talk about movies. And so hire me.
I wish we could
to
get
do
paid
that,
to do
right?
that.
Yeah.
But anyways, Corey is going to be on that show.
Yes.
Is he?
Yes. So you should come out.
I really should come and
You should
see
come
one of
out.
those. That'd be fun. I gotta convince the other half to.
It's a weekend afternoon, so actually I think it's near this time right now. What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
3 o'clock.
Yes, that is Sunday, January 26th at 3 o'clock at Last Stop Studios here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Yeah.
Right on.
Top 20 movies of the decade.
Decade. Do you have any idea how many movies have come out this decade?
Yes. I think we were in over our heads when we picked this
I think
topic.
So. Yeah.
It's going to be a blast.
We definitely 100% have to have you back on the show.
Absolutely.
Really enjoyed your knowledge and love.
I figured I appreciate that, and I noticed that sometimes I will go off over here for a while though, and then come back, find my way.
I think as all of us movie fans do.
Yeah.
My first time on a podcast was today, so thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. It was great to have you on, and thank you for reaching out to us. And
we're trying to expand and get new people on, and it was awesome to have you here. So
Right on.
Absolutely. I'll wrap it up with you can find Backlot 605 and this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts, as well as YouTube for the video portion of it that we are on right now.
Oh, we're on video.
We are right there.
I thought I thought that was for your own notification. I'm going online. Okay.
Yes, you're online. if anyone is looking for you, they will find you there.
They will find me.
Yeah, and then you can find out anything Backlot 605 related, backlot605.com, movie news, reviews, discussions. You can find our interview with Jordan Downey right now on backlot605.com, the director of The Headhunter, now on Shudder. And anyway, this has been a blast. This is a crazy countdown for sure. I'm glad you guys did it, not me. So, all right, do you guys have any other final things to say?
I don't.
All right, then we'll wrap it up here. Thank you all once again for listening, and we'll check you out next time on the Killer Countdown.